Hey. All right. I think it's working. It's always like this, anxious waiting game to see if everything actually does work when you need it to work. All right, cool. We're going to give it just a couple minutes to see if anyone pops on. If not, I will just be talking to the camera, which is pretty normal for me. I'm used to that. We've got quite the list of things to talk about today. I know it says the July update, despite the fact that we are basically halfway through August. I tried to do this update at the very end of July, but we got a little hectic. And that's okay. Maybe we'll do another second August update, truly in August. We'll see. I'm going to give it a couple minutes, see if anyone shows up. But in the meantime, if you have any specific Nameless project questions that you want answered, hopefully everything gets answered already. But please put them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them live. If not, I will send you an email or post an answer to your question. But for today, the main topics of discussion, I would say the two biggest topics of discussion are this program we've been running throughout the summer called Reconnect and Send Hope. So they're going to be the two biggest things for today. We'll give it till 8:33, and then we'll go. Just a couple more minutes. It says there's 2 people watching, which means I am one of them, and that means there's another person. So to whoever you are, thank you. No text from anyone. All right. It's 8:33. Let's get going. So, quick rundown of the agenda. Open with a quick story. We're going to talk about Reconnect. We're going to talk about some grants that we've been applying for and just kind of our philosophy on grants. Send Hope, which we've talked about on this before. Lots of updates on that. Time to Send Hope. Some stuff with Everest Orphanage Association. And am I missing anything? I don't think that's it. That's pretty much it. Nope. I'll do it in a minute. Okay. So I want to open up with a quick story that actually took place today. So a lot of people ask a lot of questions about the Nameless project because I've ran this for-profit company called High Sierra Collective. It's our production company. We've run that for a little over 5 years now. And so Send Hope is kind of this new thing, but it does a lot of storytelling. And so a lot of people ask, well, what's different about the Nameless project from High Sierra Collective? And there's a lot, but I would say, one of the big things that we do with the nonprofit is we run programs. Like Send Hope is going to be one that we're talking about. And another one that you guys haven't heard about yet is called Reconnect. And Reconnect started as it kind of started as one idea that was pitched back in like late February, early March of this year. It morphed into something different. But one of those things is every Wednesday since the end of June, we've taken 4 to 6 youth from the juvenile justice system in Marion County, and we've taken them out primarily fishing, but really just with the point of getting them outside, showing them nature, introducing them to places and activities that they wouldn't have access to. So we've been doing that since the end of June. And so we only have 2 trips left before they start school. So today, we do it every Wednesday. So today was our our third to last trip. So we went fishing today up at Detroit Lake. We're fishing right off the dam. We had 5 guys today, all under 18, all in the juvenile department, and it was an incredible day. We came home with 5 fish. One kid caught his first ever fish. He caught like a 10 or 11 inch rainbow trout, and it was an incredible day. I mean, we got 5 fish with about like 2.5 hours of fishing. So I mean, a decent bit of action. One of the fish we pulled in is 18.5 inches, so a big, like a big, pretty fat rainbow trout. So it's truly an incredible experience to watch these kids fish, and just the smile they have on their face doing something that they wouldn't ever have the opportunity to do. And a big part of that is because of people like you who support us in so many ways. So I guess, I mean, the reason I'm telling this story is there's been a lot, like, we haven't been super prominent on social media this summer. I don't even keep social media on my phone. The only reason I was able to post stuff on social media is I was given an iPad earlier this week, and so I keep Instagram on the iPad now so that I can post from the iPad, and then I stuff the iPad away because I have no self-control, and if it was on my phone, I would be on my phone at all times. And so we haven't done the best job at keeping everyone up to date on what's been happening, but Reconnect has been something that's been happening, and it's been incredible. So we've had like 8 of those outings, I think, so far this summer, with about 2 left, and it's truly seen some impact. The kids love it. I look forward to every single Wednesday getting to take these kids out, and the kids look forward to every single Wednesday getting to go on these outings. There's a we'll get into that in a second, but truly it's been really incredible to get these kids out into nature. If any of you know me personally, you know how much nature and wilderness and being in the mountains, how much that means to me, and the impact that's had on my life. So for me, getting to share that with kids in the juvenile department is truly huge. And some of these kids have crazy stories. So that's what I was doing today. So I'm a little tired. I am wearing the same clothes that I was out in this morning. So I feel a little sweaty and tired right now. But that is kind of the opening story. So I've got this picture. Unfortunately, I can't share it with you because they're youth. But with the 3 guys, they're holding this 18-inch fish standing by the dam, and they all have this smile that you could not wipe the smile off their face. They were so stoked to see a fish so big. And if you've ever been to Detroit Dam, or you can imagine it, you're fishing off the dam, so it's about a 50-foot drop from where you're standing, maybe 40 feet, from where you're standing to the surface of the water. So you have to get that fish from the surface of the water back up to where you are. So we have a pier net and a bucket with some holes drilled in it that sits down there. But it's nerve-wracking when you have this huge fish on your line and you're trying to get it in. They lost 2 big ones, but the very last fish we caught was this big 18-inch rainbow trout. So incredible day, and just experiences that these kids will not soon forget. So good opening story. But what is Reconnect? I want to talk about Reconnect for a minute and kind of how it fits into the bigger picture of the Nameless project, because I think that's a big question for, I think, a lot of people. I don't want people to feel like, Nameless project is just like things that Bryce likes to do in a nonprofit, because that's not what it is. Reconnect is really a strategic element of what we believe is our 3 core values, which would be stories, connecting people through stories, sharing information, and meaningful pathways of engagement. So we would believe that Reconnect is something that fits the meaningful pathways of engagement. Get more to that in a second. So kind of some highlights on kind of like what is the state of Marion County right now. If you live in Marion County, or you know us, maybe we've talked about this, but there's been this increase in gang violence in Marion County over the last 12 to 24 months specifically. And so there's a lot of talk around what as a community do we do with that? And so there's been some town hall meetings that have been hosted by the Salem Reporter, and some people have they've called in some experts, and people have given what they believe is the best case solution for those. And I won't share my opinion on what they've said. But I've always really personally felt, and I think my wife and Ryan Unger would also share this sentiment, that one of the best ways to make meaningful change in your community is for you as an individual, or for me, for myself, is to make connections, to build connections with people in your community that need help. So, I mean, for my wife and I, part of that is fostering. For someone like Ryan Unger, being a missionary is meeting people where they're at on trail. And for a lot of people, that looks a lot of different ways. And so, there's a lot of talk in Marion County right now of how do we curb gun violence. And if you look at the statistics on gun violence, again, back to sharing information, the city of Salem did a large study on, well, who is committing gun violence, who are the victims of gun violence, and who are the perpetrators of gun violence. And it was relatively evenly spread, but youth did rise to the top as perpetrators. I shouldn't say it rose to the top, but youth were a point of concern in terms of gun violence in Salem. And so a few months ago, there was a rather high-profile shooting at a park in Salem. So there's been a lot of talk about gun violence in Salem. And so I was approached by someone who's a counselor locally, who knows my love for the outdoors and my passion for the outdoors, and just kind of proposed, like, hey, we've got this time block with these kids. How do we get them out and do something? And he was put a lot of trust in me, I think, to make this program, and gave me kind of a lot of leash to figure it out and to build some partnerships, and we were able to do that. So huge. I don't know if he wants me to mention his name, but huge shout out to him. His name will be published eventually, but yeah, I mean, terrific shout out for the vision and making this happen, because the kids have absolutely loved it, and it's really just about getting these youth out of the city. I mean, Oregon has something like 300 million acres. Let me fact check myself really quick. How many acres of forest in Oregon? 30 million acres of forest in Oregon. And a lot of it, like today, driving to Detroit Dam, from Salem to get to the dam, it's about 55 minutes, just slightly under an hour. To get to somewhere like Pack Saddle Park, where you can see steelhead and you can see salmon, it's about 45 minutes. So there's some incredible wilderness areas just outside of Salem. And so I believe, this is something I hold true to myself, if you want to think differently about a situation, you got to do something differently. And so getting these kids out into nature, experiencing nature, just the peace of nature. Like a couple weeks ago, we were able to rent a boat at Detroit, a pontoon boat, and just go take these kids out on a pontoon boat on Detroit. And it's incredible just to be out on this large body of water, middle of the week. You just hear the wind. You're just hanging out with your friends and chilling. It's an incredible experience. And it really works from a therapeutic side of it. We have like a licensed professional counselor who comes out on these, which is absolutely fantastic. You definitely need that. But just to share a couple quotes from some scientific articles in peer-reviewed journals relating to, they would call this wilderness therapy. Some stigma around wilderness therapy. But okay, so around the term wilderness therapy, but these are studies on wilderness therapy, getting kids out into wilderness for therapeutic experiences. So here's two quotes, two different studies in peer-reviewed journals. This study indicates trauma-informed wilderness therapy can improve how struggling adolescents feel, behave, cope, and relate with others. These preliminary findings suggest trauma-informed wilderness therapy is complementary integrative treatment that has potential benefit for both trauma-exposed and other vulnerable youth. So that's one quote. Okay, second quote, different study. Overall, there were statistically significant short-term improvements in resilience, social self-esteem, and depression, and statistically significant improvements in the follow-up period for suicidality and general self-esteem. These results suggest that wilderness adventure therapy can help adolescents to improve dysfunctional beliefs and attitudes, maladaptive behaviors, coping strategies, inadequate problem-solving methods, and develop greater resilience to overcome risks and avoid negative outcomes in the future. I love that last one. That last quote. Improve dysfunctional beliefs and attitudes. That's huge. I mean, getting kids to believe in themselves and believe what is true about themselves and true about the world is huge. Maladaptive behaviors, how they respond in adverse situations that are, you don't want them to respond in maladaptive ways. You want them to respond in well-adaptive ways. Obviously, I'm not a counselor. Good coping strategies. They have inadequate problem-solving methods. Greater resilience to overcome risk and avoid negative outcomes in the future. These are all amazing things just by getting kids outside. So, so that's what Reconnect really is it's been this strategic way to get kids out of Salem, get them outside for just a day. We leave at around, we all meet up at around 7:45, 8 o'clock. We got to be back in Salem by about 2. Every couple Wednesdays we have till about 6. So we have a really long day every couple weeks. But I mean, going back to our values as an organization, telling stories, connecting people to information. Excuse me. Connecting people to information and providing meaningful pathways to engagement. For us, Reconnect does a couple of those. It's meaningful pathways of engagement. Like, we are engaging with these youth in a meaningful way. And there's not necessarily ways for the community to do that. Like, there's no sign up to like be involved in Reconnect. That would be great if one day we can involve more people. But it's also a great way to provide access to information because now we have this direct, it's not hyperbole, right? There's a direct connection with these youth, and we can speak intelligently about these youth. There's obviously some like potential issues with storytelling because these are youth. These aren't adults. But still, being able to, like, I know their stories. Like, I can share aspects of their stories with you and with the community without sacrificing their identity or what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like harming the trust that those kids have with us, right? But I think it's really to show, like, I wholeheartedly believe this. I've got a lot of questions about like the homeless community of like, what do I think the solution is? Because I've got to spend a lot of time, thanks to Be Bold Street Ministries and others that have let me, go on outreach with them. I've got to spend a lot of time in the homeless communities, and people ask me like, well, what do I think the solution is? And I think it's one-on-one engagement with people. And so for me, this is a way of creating that one-on-one engagement that we can make real change. And I mean, I would love to grow it into a bigger program that can help more kids in Marion and Polk counties, just the stuff locally here. So it's meaningful pathways for engagement. It's telling stories in a way that's a little bit different. It's not me taking a camera out with a microphone and putting, and being like, hey, tell me your story. Or, hey, do you want to tell me your story? It's a little bit different than that. So, but still, we really think it falls into the fold of what Nameless product does. So, and hopefully, so there's going to be more on that to come for sure. As that's kind of coming to how the program has been running since June is going to come to a close when school starts, because we won't have this big chunk of time. At least we don't think so at the moment. It'd be great if we did, but it's going to be coming to a close and maybe changing as the school starts, but hopefully some of those elements staying the same. I do want to take a minute to thank some people that have made Reconnect possible. And the two big ones are Sportsman's Warehouse. Sportsman's was kind enough to give us the employee discount on a bunch of their fishing stuff to really get us set up. So we bought 3 rods that belong to us. They're ours. I mean, a ton of lures and baits and tackle boxes and nets and stuff like that. That belong to us, that we have ongoing. And so super appreciative for that. That saved us, basically 50% off of market costs for good quality stuff that's not going to break, that we can continue to use. I mean, we pulled like a 2.5 pound fish out of the water with it today. It's good stuff. And then the other big one is the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, ODF&W. I reached out to them. Amanda Boyles, who runs their education, I don't remember exactly what her title is, but she, just like within less than a week, was able to get us fishing licenses. Basically, it's for running these educational events to be able to help us educate the kids on how to fish, like the techniques of fishing, tying knots, identifying fish, regulations, how to look, like all the stuff that you need so that these kids can go out and fish. And then they provided us with 6 more rods. So we had a total of 9 rods. And tons of lures, essentially all the tackle we would need to get the kids out, tons of bait. So huge shout out to Amanda and her team over at the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife for making this happen. So yeah, Reconnect is great. We've got a lot of ideas of how we can grow it and do some other things. I tend to overshare, so I don't want to overshare. Yeah, Reconnect has been great, especially with kind of the climate of things happening in Marion County right now. It's been really cool to be out with these kids because they are great kids. They're truly great kids. The 5 that we had out with us today, just super proud of what they've learned in the 6 or 8 weeks that we've been doing this, and how they work together, and how they solve problems, and how they overcome. The first 2 fish that we hooked up on were big fish, like the last one that we caught, like big 18-inch fish, and we lost both of them. And they all handled it super well. They didn't, no one freaked out and started kicking stuff or whatever. Like they handled it super well, and I'm. Yeah, truly, I'm super proud of these kids. I'm just really stoked of what they've done to be able to do this and to make this a reality. I'm super proud of the kids in this program. They're all truly really good kids. And that kind of leads us into a topic I wanted to discuss, which is grants. So we're a nonprofit, so that kind of opens us up to the door. Or that opens the door up to us for grants, which is really, I think for me, it kind of has there's this bigger conversation of we're a pretty small operation. It's really, in the day-to-day operations, it's Brooke and myself. Ryan Unger is out doing his stuff right now on trail. I'll actually be here later this week, which is amazing. Really looking forward to him being around. But there's really only 3 of us, so we don't have a ton of time. So we're a small operation. Brooke has been doing a ton of the stuff with Send Hope, we're talking about that in a minute, doing a lot of the organization, inventory and stuff, getting that ready to launch. I really focus on a lot of the web design, the research, the storytelling side of things, which is why sometimes, we just won't post on social media for a while, or we're pretty slow moving. But we've really been focusing on grants to try and help fund some of these things, like Send Hope. And kind of the biggest one that we submitted to was the Willamette Health Council. Opened up some grant applications for programs kind of like what we're doing with Reconnect. And so we submitted a grant application for about $60,000 with some miscellaneous things for salary, capital investment, what are the other categories? Equipment and supplies, materials, incidental expenses, all that type of stuff. About $60,000 total to essentially help us run Reconnect, because Reconnect is currently being grant funded by a different grant, and eventually that money's going to run out, because that's how grants work. So we're moving to the second round on that one, which is great. So no, we don't know yet if we're going to get it, but I'm pretty hopeful, given that we're moving to the second round. And, I think our work really speaks for itself. So please be praying for that. That would be really huge for us next summer to have that and just kind of have that peace of mind moving into next spring and summer with running Reconnect to keep that going. But we're looking into more grant opportunities to help us run things like Send Hope, to help us with some of the storytelling and just some of the, don't want to call them general operations, but our programs like Send Hope, like the stories that we tell, because that's really our biggest expense. Like, it doesn't really cost anything for us to make stories, right? Like, we have cameras, we have media equipment and lighting. Like, I run a production company, so we have all of the stuff to run a production company. We have all that already. Really, the big expense for us in telling stories is time, because it takes time to tell stories. It takes time to, pre-production, actually going out and shooting things doesn't really take that much time. Like, to go out and like really tell a story, you can, depending on what scale you're doing it, you could do short mini doc stuff in like 2 to 3 days, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that much time, but the pre-production that goes into that can be weeks, and the editing that goes into that can take weeks to months as well. So that's the big thing, is really just the time to offset that in our schedules is really key. And just to be able to have that extra time to work on stuff for the website. There's a ton of stuff happening on the back end of the website that we're excited to hopefully launch here in the fall. But yeah, basically right now we are supported by you guys. There's plenty of donors that are giving monthly that help us fund things like School for Uganda. We've had some people that have just given some one-time donations that have helped do things like we pay $200 annually for access to the United Way hosts this thing through. It's called Good 360. Nationally, it's called Good 360. Locally, they call it the Community Resource Center, where basically like Amazon and Walmart give like their surplus stuff. And so we can go shop that for free. We pay like a $200 admin fee annually. So we can go there 3 times a month and shop stuff. So we were able to get some cool stuff like a couple packs of these baby swaddles that we're going to use for Send Hope. A few miscellaneous like camera and storytelling pieces, some stuff like that. So really supported by you guys. So grants is something we're looking at, potentially bringing in a grant writer to help us do some stuff. Lots of people coming together around Send Hope. So I think it's time to talk about Send Hope, which is probably the biggest thing that's been occupying our brain space, especially the last couple of weeks. If you haven't heard us talk about Send Hope, what Send Hope is it's a program to help foster families and foster kids in the first 48 hours of care. The first 48 hours of care can be pretty chaotic, as both a foster parent, and I've never been a foster child, but I would assume as a foster child, because you've got a lot going on in that first 48 hours of being removed from a home, being placed into a foster family as a foster parent. Sometimes those kids come in with nothing. We had one girl come into our care with she basically had on a nightgown. And her little sisters pull up, and that was pretty much it. So after we got all the kids to bed, I was at Walmart at like 11 at night getting her, just some day clothes and shoes and a nightlight and stuff for the next day. So kind of Send Hope is kind of born out of that experience of wanting to alleviate some of that stress and that anxiety and that just that stress for kind of everyone in the first 48 hours of placement by providing a bunch of those tangible needs. So you don't have to run to Walmart at 11 p.m. And so a kid can come into care and they have, some toys, and they have like a stuffed animal and a nightlight and maybe a coloring book and their own water bottle and, shoes and toothbrushes and stuff like that's just already there. And ready for those kids that can go with the kid. That's their stuff. So that's what Send Hope is. And why we're doing it is because there's a need. It does fill a need. There's a lot of services that... No. Still working? Okay. There's a lot of services that are offered either through DHS or through other nonprofits, but it can take 3 to 5 days for those services to kick in. Like DHS will typically give you a clothing voucher so that you can go to somewhere like Roth's, or locally there's a consignment store for like baby clothes and like toddler clothes called Once Upon a Child. So they'll give you a clothing voucher so you can go there and get clothes. But it usually takes like 3 to 5 days to get that. The kids don't normally come with it, especially if you're getting a kid over the weekend. They won't typically come with a clothing voucher. So there's a great nonprofit in Portland called With Love that you can submit a request, and they have like tons of clothes and bottles and bottle warmers. My wife and I have used With Love, and they have, they give us car seats and strollers and all sorts of stuff. But again, and that takes time to submit a form. They pack all the stuff up for you, and then for us, because we're outside of their delivery area, we got to drive up to Tualatin and pick it up, which is about, if you're not familiar with our area, it's about 45 minutes to an hour. So there is a big need for that, for those services in Salem. So again, how does this fit into what the Nameless Project does? We'd put this under those like tangible pathways for engagement. And this is one that I think we're all super excited about on the Nameless Project team, because this is one that is going to involve the community, right? We're going to need volunteers to go deliver these packages to people, because Brooke and I are not going to be delivering these backpacks. Somebody bought us 25 of these backpacks so that we can fill these backpacks with things, with all the tangible needs, and so we can deliver a backpack this is the kid's backpack. I think these backpacks are delightfully cute, with all the stuff that this kid can have. So basically, I mean, we're going to need people to help us pack these backpacks, to deliver these backpacks. So this is going to be a great way for people to get involved with foster care and to have a tangible and meaningful impact in the foster care community, and help these kids in the foster system feel safe and loved at a time where, like, their life is super uncertain. I mean, for us, like as foster parents, I remember the day we got AJ. That was that was like the day I became a dad, which is like super cool for me. But like for AJ, this is like, he's moved around placements a few times. So like, I'm sure it didn't feel for him the same way it feels for me. And that's, I think, with a lot of kids, you've been removed from your home. So it may not feel like a great day. So having something like a stuffed animal, having a nightlight to sleep in, having clothes and shoes and a coloring book and pajamas that are yours and a blanket that's yours, I think can feel really good. So we're really excited for that. And we're just like, man, can't say thank you enough to all the people that have supported us and donated things to make Send Hope a reality. Right now we're focusing on ages 0 to 5 to start with. Our goal is we're going to serve 0 to 18, but just really narrowing in on that 0 to 5. And so we've had just an incredible outpouring of support for Send Hope. Like seriously warms our heart to see people. We had a close friend of ours donated 25 backpacks, and I think they're really cute. That's been a huge need for us, and we've been trying to figure out how we're going to make that happen, because we need bags to put all the stuff in. And so somebody ordered us 25 backpacks, and they all showed up this week, which is amazing. We're super thankful for stuff like that. We've had prayer groups and friends that have donated clothes. I wish I could. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's like 18 boxes of clothes back here that are all, we had some friends this week help us come and organize it into different, into their genders and then into their sizes, and buy day clothes and pajamas and stuff. So like huge thank you to everyone who has been a part of Send Hope. We had some friends at another nonprofit called Soaring Heights that runs some recovery houses. They had a ton of extra diapers, and they gave us a ton of diapers and a ton of wipes. So huge thank you to everyone who has gathered around Send Hope to make it a reality. Because like a year ago, it was just an idea, and because of people like you guys, it is like an actual reality. It's happening. So I think our goal would be to launch it before the end of the year, which is daunting. It's really scary when you're like, this thing doesn't exist, and hopefully in like 4 months, it's going to be a thing, and we're going to be serving foster youth in Marion and Polk County, foster youth and foster families. Here's a crazy statistic. I don't have the document with me right now, but in Marion County, which is, if you're not from Salem or the Salem area, Marion County is where Salem is located. It's one of the larger counties in the state. It's got almost 400,000 people as of 2022. There is only, as of 2022, there's only 62 non-relative foster homes. So people like Brooke and I and a bunch of our friends that we're fostering kids that are not related to us. Those are non-relative foster homes. There's a lot more. I know it's 62 non-relative. I want to say it's like 89 relative foster homes. So foster homes that are taking, like a niece or a nephew that comes to a care, or a grandchild or something like that. But there's only 62 non-relative foster homes. So it's really important to keep those homes open, and hopefully build more of them and spread some support. So we're really excited about Send Hope. There's another, hang on, I got to grab a box. I want to show you. So Capital Dental here in Salem, they basically, with no questions asked, they donated 4 boxes of toothbrushes, of kids' toothbrushes. So there's like Batman and princesses and Bluey and an incredible number. I don't even know how many boxes of like toothpaste, which is amazing. We're never going to have to buy toothbrushes and toothpaste, which is such a huge blessing to us. So for people like Capital Dental, for, family that donates backpacks, for prayer groups that are gathering clothes, trying to make sure I don't miss anyone, for people like Soaring Heights who donated diapers and wipes. Seriously, it means so much to us that you guys are helping us out to make this program. And then we're excited to, in the next couple months, start getting more volunteers together to pack these bags and eventually deliver these bags and deliver meals to foster families to really help alleviate some of that stress and that tension in the first 48 hours of care. So timeline for that, like I said, hopefully by the end of the year. If you want to see the webpage, this is the webpage for Send Hope. You can get to it on our website. It's nameless-project.org/Send Hope. But I guess here's a couple of the numbers for me that I'm a numbers person. So Oregon has 2 times the national per capita average youth in the foster system. So we have 6 per thousand. The national average is 3 per thousand. In 2022, almost 2,000 youth removed from their homes. That's 5 youth per day, 365 days a year. Just like let that sink in for a second. That's like 5 youth per day. That's like 1 every 5 hours every single day of the year. That's a lot of kids. 7,727 youth spent at least 1 day in the foster system in 2022. So, really, as a foster parent, it makes me really sad. So we want to do something to help that, and as part of the Nameless Project, creating those meaningful pathways for engagement. So if you have any more questions on Send Hope, this webpage, it's linked in the description of this video. Nameless-project.org/Send Hope. You can learn a little bit more about what we need. And if you want to support Send Hope, there's quite a few ways you can do that. You can give to us, which can be super helpful. Giving to us can be super helpful. That just gives us the financial resources to go out and buy things that we need, like night lights or dinners or things like that for resource parents, resource or foster parents when kids come into care, or buy items like one-off items that we're low or short on, or if a kid needs a very specific size of something that we don't have. So you can give to the Nameless Project if you click the giving link. Sorry, it's behind my box. If you click the giving link on the Send Hope page, it goes to a specific Send Hope giving page. So if you want to give just to Send Hope, this link will just do Send Hope. If you want to donate items, you can go to our Amazon wish list. Our Amazon wish list has right now kind of some of our like top items that we need. The 3 big things that we need right now. Should I get them right? Socks, underwear, diaper bags are kind of the 3 big things we need. Socks and underwear are kind of 2 of those things, especially underwear. Underwear has to be like, things like underwear need to be like unused, like new in package. And same thing, diaper bags. So we're doing backpacks for kind of the older kids. Like I think, oh dear, should ask Brooke before I came out here. I think it's 2 and above. So we're doing backpacks for, and kind of 0 to 18 months is a diaper bag. So those are some of the big things that we need right now. But if you have anything else we publish on, it's here somewhere. Reach out. Our full needs list of kind of this will get updated. Work on updating this to be a little bit more specific. But this is kind of the gist. I mean, obviously, see, this says diaper bag. It's going to be updated to say backpack. So this is kind of all of the stuff that's going in every bag. So if you have something like or if you're like, hey, I want to donate night lights, that's totally something we're going to need. So yes, please donate night lights or whatever if you feel that. But yeah, if you want to look at kind of what our full needs list is looking like here, you can always reach out to us at hello@nameless-project.org. Yeah, so that's Send Hope. We're super excited about it. We've gotten so much positive feedback about it, and just we're really ready to get it off the ground. So working on, the web page isn't published yet. There's going to be under the Make a Difference tab. There's going to be, Reconnect and Send Hope will be there, so you can get more information on Reconnect. And then we're working on kind of a little promo video thing for it. And then kind of launching Send Hope is kind of a part of a bigger project or a bigger scope of also launching the foster care side of the website. So right now, it needs to be updated because new stats came out. But if you go to People Matter, there's kind of all of the folks that we work with. So homelessness, foster care, modern slavery, incarceration, unreached. So homeless and unreached are the only ones with information right now. So you can go to homeless, get a bunch of information and stats and stories, part of our continuing efforts to provide greater access to information. But if you go to something like foster care, summer 2024. So the goal is to kind of roll out more of that information on the foster system and stories from the foster system, as well as kind of Send Hope as we move into the end of the year. So that is Send Hope. I don't think I missed anything on Send Hope. So if you have any more questions, are there any questions? Nope, no questions yet. So really the last things are Everest Orphanage, Uganda. So, first of all, big question, do I have a photo? One of the most important things I think to share is, yes, you guys, we did it. So this, I think I've shared this photo before. I have a newer photo. It's just not on here right now of Derek and all the kids. It is on the website. If you go log onto the website, the newest photo is there. But this is all of the kids with their school supplies because of you guys. And I think, I love sharing this stuff with you guys because I didn't do that. You guys did that. You made that a reality of sending those kids to school. So thank you. Thank you for making that happen. I mean, I know those kids. I've seen those kids. I've danced with those kids. So for me to see them in school doing something that I know is going to impact their future really means a lot to me personally. And I know it really means a lot to them. And Derek is incredibly appreciative of you guys. Derek is the gentleman who runs the orphanage, and he is, over the moon appreciative of you guys. He understands your guys' sacrifice and your support for him. And this tiny little orphanage in this tiny little village in Uganda is seen by you guys, and that really means a lot to him. I know it does. So we're continuing to support them. Really thinking into next school year now because that's kind of the part of the year that we're getting into. So, there's a lot there. So we've done 2 semesters. They're about to start their next semester now. So I need to send them some more funds, which we have in the bank. Really, I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. Really, we're all funded by you guys. So we've had some people come in and just kind of give some general donation funds to do things like pay that $200 admin fee to the Community Resource Center. But really, a lot of the funding that's coming in is for the kids in Uganda. And then there's some general operational funds. I'm working on kind of coming up with a better system of reporting our finances in a way that makes sense and is like easy to understand. Because my one thing that's kind of been on my heart this last few months is I heard this story of the guy who founded Charity Water, and they do something really interesting with their finances. They have 2 completely separate bank accounts. One is for their operating funds, like, keeping the lights on, paying people's salary, office pizza parties, whatever. And they have another fund that's for building wells. And if you give to the well building fund, 100% of what you give goes to the well building. And they fundraise their general funds completely separate. And there's just something about that really appeals to me. And so I want to figure out a way to do that with the Nameless project. Because there's a lot of things, and I don't think this is bad per se, of organizations that say like, hey, like sponsoring a kid is, just for a round number, $50. But most of us know that, like, okay, maybe 60% of that goes to the kid, 40% of that is just the administrative and cost necessary for the to get the money to the kid, right? And I don't know if 60-40 split is normal or what, but I would love to set up Nameless project in such a way that it's like, hey, which it basically already is for Uganda. It's $120 a year per kid, and we're saying it's like, hey, it's $10 per year. I'm sorry, $10 per month to send a kid to school. So we're kind of already doing that with Uganda, but I really love the visuals of like there's 2 bank accounts, right? And they're separate. There's something about that just really appeals to me. So anyways, and they do Charity Water super rad about it. They do a full audit every year of like, hey, we want to make sure that like every dollar that was given for charity and water building went to that, and if there's any discrepancies, they pay it back, which I just think is the level of integrity there is just really inspiring. So, man, going for 50 minutes here, which explains why my voice is about done. That's pretty much it, you guys. If you have any questions, please ask them. If you haven't asked them already, which you haven't, Put them in the comments, and I'll periodically check the comments and answer any questions. But again, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you who support the Nameless Project, who support things like Send Hope and sending kids to school in Uganda, and just support our stories by watching them and sharing them, because that's huge. So we really appreciate the work that you all do. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Thank you all again. Yeah. I think we're good.